It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day once again. Welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller. We're happy to welcome into studio today, coming to us from the Sedona Library, Anne-Marie Mackler. And Anne-Marie is a development director. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did. Good morning, Brad.
All right. Good morning, and thanks for stopping to visit with us today. There's something big coming up next week. This will be on Wednesday, the 26th, and actually a national commemoration called Library Giving Day. And the Sedona Library, and I assume thousands across our country, will be celebrating that. We're going to talk a little about that and some other things that are always happening at the Sedona Library and indeed other libraries in our community. Let's kind of start with you said something to me really interesting before we open the microphones. Let's share with our listeners. That, what did you call it? Libraries today. It seems to me a lot of folks with libraries are pretty well tapped in. They understand it. They get it. They visit, or in some way or another use the resources there, or not at all. There seems to be two kinds of people on this kind of thing, and I know there's some middle ground. Do you find that to be kind of sort of accurate? And talk a little bit, if you will, about libraries. It's not your grandfather's library anymore with technology and other things. Things are different these days, aren't they?
They certainly are. And I think that everybody knows of libraries. Everybody has a library story. It's one of my favorite things. I haven't asked you for years yet, Brad, but I might.
Okay.
People do remember that library of old, the quiet place where librarians said, shh, and you picked up a book and you read it. And while we still have that and we love that, we have areas in both our libraries dedicated to quiet. We like to be loud. We have kids, we have dancing, we have language classes. We had poetry and music last week with the Poetry and Prose Project. And people are thinking that they don't need libraries anymore because they're getting their books electronically. But that doesn't mean you don't need to come by the library and see what's up on any given day. We're full of programs and services.
Right. And that, it seems to be probably, as much as any other industry, revolutionary.
It is. There are great books out there about what has happened in this evolution of reading. And while reading is wonderful, literacy, we couldn't do without it. It just isn't all that a library is anymore. We have a fabulous collection. We love our collection. We have a small, wonderful collection in the Village Library. Right. But we're so much more about being the community center. In fact, we just opened a gorgeous courtyard between our library and the Friends of the Library bookstore. Lots of umbrellaed tables, a big fire circle, areas to hang out, read. The place is always populated by people who want to be outdoors, especially with this weather.
Sure.
It's just how libraries are going.
Yeah, community center. I love the way you call it that. I know that Sedona, along with I think many, if not all, or most of the libraries in our community, I live in Clarkdale. COVID did some things, closures and things like that, hour cutbacks and so on. So there's been some adjustment because of that still linger. But through the what is it called? The library network.
Yavapai Library Network.
Yavapai Library Network. I can find a book that's perhaps unavailable locally to me that maybe is in Sedona or Chino Valley and so on. That seems to be something that is extraordinary and continues to be pretty darn valuable.
It is. When you get your library card and you look up a book in the catalog, wherever it is, of I believe some 43, might be 45 libraries, you put it on hold, tell the system, computer system, where you want to pick that book up. And I live in Cottonwood, I work in Sedona, but I know that I might be in Clarkdale for something, so I can get the book there. You can have it available, books or whatever item that you're borrowing.
I've done that frequently because, Clarkdale is fairly small and ordered there, picked up there, and many, many times I've had books come from all over different places, and the turnaround is pretty darn quick.
Yeah, the turnaround is really quick, and that isn't to say that we don't also have a plethora of online services. Those only increased and improved through COVID, as you mentioned, COVID, And we still have all of that available online. So if you go to our website, sedonalibrary.org, I have to say, you can find all the online availability for programs, classes, movies. We have Canopy, which is like Netflix, but it's free, and a great selection of movies.
Yeah, extraordinary. I don't know how many people kind of understand these things. Let's talk a little bit, as development director. Funding is something that is very close to what you do, and it seems like libraries are going to constantly be looking for funding, dependable resources, new resources. In Sedona, with National Library Giving Day coming up, it seems like the whole point is to kind of put the focus on libraries and their needs, resource, volunteer-wise, and otherwise. Is that right?
Absolutely. The Sedona Public Library is an anomaly. There are only 8 or 9% of libraries across the nation that are independent private nonprofits. We're a private organization that is dedicated to serving the public. We're not a department of any municipality. However, we couldn't do all that we do without the support we receive from both Yavapai County, Coconino County, and then Sedona. The city of Sedona is very generous with us, bringing us a contract every year. And it can't go without saying the friends of the library who have been with us pretty much our entire history. We're hitting almost 65 years now, and they've been with us right along. Their bookstore, which is right on our West Sedona campus, helps them support us. So they also offer a lot in the way of philanthropy to our causes. So my job as development director is to find another 20-25% of what we do. Library Giving Day is a huge part of that. Sure.
I know that in Sedona, it's a community that to many nonprofits has been very generous. With some of the folks there, I think of the Humane Society of Sedona for one. We chatted with them recently, and they were very talking about some of those kinds of things. Does the Sedona Library kind of enjoy private donations as well?
Oh, absolutely. That's my job, is to work with individuals, foundations, businesses. We have corporate sponsorships that we love, and so that's what I do. Right. And the Library Giving Day campaign is a huge part of that.
It seems like it's also going to be a very good day. And again, this is on April 26th. It is a kind of a national recognition, commemoration, if you will. A great way, if it's been a while since you've been to the library or taken advantage of some of the resources, to do some study, as well as perhaps commit to some kind of contribution, but to just get in and kick the tires. Pay a visit, to your local library or perhaps one in a neighboring community and find out what's happening.
People love the library in West Sedona. It is a gorgeous building. You mentioned that you were there for its grand opening back in 1994. And it was built by the community. The property it's on was donated by the community. It really is a community library. It belongs to the community and wouldn't exist if it wasn't for that. The library in the village, similarly, we took advantage of Big Park Community School. There was a library in that building that was empty, and now we're in it. Also, another gorgeous space. You can sit on the patios there under Castle Rock. In fact, on Library Giving Day, both libraries will have refreshments, coffee, cookies, donuts, you name it. You can come in, talk with us about what we do, walk around, get to know us. We have poetry book displays in both libraries because it's also April is Poetry Month. And just enjoy the space and get to know it. If you haven't been, like you said, in a long time or ever, next Wednesday is the perfect time to come.
Wednesday the 26th, National Library Giving Day. Our guest is Anne-Marie Mackler, and Anne is the Development Director at the Sedona Library. We'll talk more about this when we come back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. Again, countywide, I'm Brad Miller. Anne-Marie Mackler is the Development Director, Sedona Public Library, and coming up is Library Giving Day. It is a national recognition and really just kind of saluting libraries and, yes, kind of looking for shared resources. Who knows how you might be able to contribute. And Anne-Marie, with so many different kind of programs being offered at Sedona and other libraries, it seems to me sometimes a program might be offered if there is someone in the community, perhaps with a teaching background or experience in a certain field, where a program could be adopted simply because the person who could provide the proper resource is available. Do you find that happen?
Absolutely. We just had a volunteer come on, Lupe Schneider, who is teaching English as a second language.
Oh, great.
And that is a class for all who would like to learn English. We have a couple Russian students. We have a lot of Hispanic students. It meets once a week, Wednesday evening. So folks who want to learn English have a place to go because this volunteer came to offer this opportunity. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, we had a poetry and music opportunity last week with the Poetry Prose Project. Again, a group in town that's been doing that kind of thing for years. They brought in some great poets, Camilla Ross, Mary Hayborn, and some great musicians. So yes, that's exactly how it happens.
A lot of people visit Sedona and the Verde Valley, our area, because of the weather, the scenic and things. Certainly the artistic community and those kinds of things. And it seems to me, by what you're describing, that libraries in any area can be very, very different from one to the other, simply because of the makeup of the community and the human resources we have in the community, folks who might volunteer, just as those you just kind of described to us. And so every library in that sense is going to be different than almost every other one, even the one down the street.
Yeah, I think that there are some basic things that libraries do, like the ESL class that I just mentioned.
Sure.
Of course, geology and archaeology are huge in Sedona, and so we have two groups that meet at the library regularly. We have our fabulous geology wall. If you've never been, you should come in. And when they built this building in West Sedona, they layered the rocks in one of the pillars to match the geologic time. So things like that are very particular to Sedona and Sedona Public Library in the village, too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's got to be library people who just go to libraries when they are out doing their thing in their RV. Like some folks say, I'm going to get to every state park in America, or, those guys. It just, the way you described that occurred to me that there's probably library hounds
out
there.
There are those people. I happen to be one. And I was talking about library stories. Often people will say that they discovered Sedona Public Library when they came here 20 years ago. went to the library, fell in love. Often the library is a good part of a reason someone will move to a town. They want a good library.
Yeah, you were telling me you've got really such good Wi-Fi that even visitors, guests, tourists will come in just to use the library because the hotel Wi-Fi is terrible.
That happens often. They just can't get a good connection, so they'll come to the library. We do have library cards available to tourists and visitors. They're good for a year, and that gives them access to all that we've got in the whole Yavapai Library Network, let alone Sedona Public Library.
Kind of a guest thing. I would guess that libraries, as folks do go and visit whatever area in the country it may be, particularly Sedona, which is very much tourist driven, a lot of folks are going to go online and look at the library, its resources and its makeup before they come visit. You kind of suggested that that's true. It sounds like you do find that to be accurate.
Absolutely. And then people like human touch. Yeah. So they'll come in and say, well, I looked this up. I heard about this hike, I heard about this trail, and then we're there to give them that personal touch and say, oh, did you know that portion of the trail was closed because of whatever?
Right.
And then they get that up-to-date right from us. We serve as a visitor center in some ways, and which is really important. And people like to come to West Sedona because the traffic's often a little lighter, though we're not going to talk about traffic.
That's another show.
Yes.
There is, a governing board, or how does that work?
So as a 501c3 nonprofit, we have a board of trustees, and they oversee our policies, and then they make sure that we are financially sound. So they're the financial oversight and the policy oversight. But when it comes to running the library, we have our library director, Judy Poe, and then we have our children's librarian, Vivian Krause, and then several fabulous librarians who know what the people want. They're out there talking to the folks, and we figure out our whole program line based on what people tell us they want, and we put it together.
Sure. We mentioned kind of at the top of the show technology and how much it's changed libraries, like it has changed everything in our world. 10 years back, 20 years back, and so on. And so much material has become available online. Talk to me a little bit about what are the reasons that I really kind of do need to visit this library or any library that I'm maybe not quite going to be able to take advantage of through the internet or those kinds of means.
So we have a fabulous tech librarian, Marcy Young, and her job is to work specifically with our patrons who might have just gotten a new iPhone and aren't able to figure it out.
Okay.
Or somebody who's, believe it or not, brand new to computers at all and need training in a mouse, how to work a mouse.
Sure.
So we have the whole spectrum that we can offer services. Like I mentioned earlier, we have free notary service. That's the type of thing that we offer. Many libraries do. We have I mentioned we have English as a second language, but we also have Spanish class. So you can come learn Spanish. This is something that people don't realize, that class level. We have writing groups. We have a writing salon. We have a Veterans History Project where vets will come in and be recorded to tell their story. There's a Veterans Project or a Veterans Coffee with a Vet, second Fridays of every month, where vets come together, have coffee, eat donuts, always with a special presentation. The list is almost endless of what we do and that what people might not know is happening at the library.
It's kind of funny as we chat. I think if someone tuning in into the show today, kind of halfway through, might be thinking I'm talking to someone from a community college. Almost. And
I'd love to know that they thought that. We think of ourselves as the heart of the community, and we keep the pulse going. Yeah. If you want to do or learn something, stop by first. We can help you out.
If someone is listening and they do have some time to commit as a volunteer or perhaps to contribute resources, or if they have questions, or how do they get a hold of you, or whom should they?
So we have a volunteer coordinator, and you can go on to our website and do an online application, and you can make a gift online, sedonalibrary.org. And then there's donate buttons just about everywhere. I can get them on our website so that you can click and make your gift online. Our online center. We try to be an online library. It's like our third library location, if you will, and it has lots of stuff that you can find out about what we're doing or what you can do online, too.
Good stuff. We'll take another short break, come back, wrap it up. Again, Library Giving Day, national commemoration, certainly will be celebrated at Sedona, and I would assume many of our local libraries in our community. Anne-Marie Mackler is our guest. We'll be back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Are you looking for a way to support your local schools? Then donate to the tax credit program today. Here's why. At Oak Creek School in Cornville, your tax credit dollars are used to fund field trips, provide sports uniforms, enrich our agriculture program, help our 8th grade students go to Washington, D.C., purchase playground equipment. Ready to donate? You could donate up to $200 as an individual or $400 for a married couple filing jointly. To donate at Oak Creek School, you can find the form on our website at ocs.cocsd.us.
Rice Accounting encourages you to make your Arizona tax donations now.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. I'm Brad Miller. Anne-Marie Mackler is here, Development Director at the Sedona Library. And coming up next week on Wednesday, it's Library Giving Day, and a number of special things planned through the Sedona Library, and we hope you would take part, especially if you haven't been ever. If you haven't been for a while, find out about the many, many new programs, just a handful full of which Anne-Marie has kind of chatted about today. Okay, in a minute, I'll tell you my library story. Did you have some kind of concluding thoughts, or what should people know as we get wrapped up here? Because I want to tell my story and get out.
Yes.
So I want to.
So I encourage you to support your local library. I hope your local library is Sedona Public Library, because it's National Library Week next week and it's Poetry Month. We have a great lineup of fun stuff to do at both libraries. We have Running River 8th graders are going to read poetry at 10:30 at Sedona Public Library, and then that will be followed by Mary Hayborn, a longtime Sedona resident advocate for our library. She wrote the library poem, and she'll be reading poetry. For teens, Wednesdays are always early release day. We have Get Your Zen On with mini mandalas, a fun painting exercise. Then we're going to have an open pop-up poetry and stories hour, so folks can just come in, read a poem of their own, read a story that they love. Then we have a special guest, Russ Kazmerzak, coming up from Phoenix. He is a comic, a humorist, and a poet. He's going to do a funny poem workshop, and that's at 2 to 3:30 in West Sedona. That will be followed up by him reading some poetry and hopefully some other folks showing up. Then out on our courtyard by the fire circle, we have two storytellers. Some you'll know, Claire Obermark at 6 and Michael Peach, cowboy poet, at 7. Jeff Smith, a national best-selling young adult author and comic, is going to be reading and doing a whole show at 6:30 at West Sedona.
Okay, so a full roster. Can I go online? Can I go to the website and find find more about that?
Yes, you can go to the website and learn all about it. We'll have refreshments all day. And not to be forgotten, Solomon Morris, a jazz guitarist, will be playing out at Sedona Public Library in the Village, where we'll also have coffee, cookies.
And yummy things.
Yes, yummy things. So come have a donut, sip a cup of coffee, listen to some music or stories. And now, Brad, please, what is your library story?
Okay, well, I got to be kind of quick. Mine goes back to being probably about a sophomore in high school. And in our library was really kind of a library/study hall. It was not real big. And our librarian when I was in high school's name was Mrs. Wary. And if Mrs. Wary had not been a high school librarian, she would have been a drill instructor in the Marine Corps. And I'm not kidding. The 1,000-yard stare, no one messed with her, not in her library. So Brian McGee and I are sitting at a table, and we're cracking up and being idiots. And finally, it doesn't take long for her to zero in on me. And because I was the one laughing, he was the one telling the jokes. Anyway, she writes down this list of books for me to go and find in the library. And I did, and she says, you check these out and you go read these, and then you're going to come back whenever you get them done, a week or two, you come back and you tell me about those. I can remember one of them was Of Mice and Men. Extraordinary book.
That's a great story.
And it was like, shut up and learn something, was really what she said.
And her name was Wary.
Mrs. Wary.
And a library. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's poetic. It's meant to be. Thank you for that story.
She was something. And then after that, I shut my mouth when I was in her space, and I did learn a few things from her. All right.
Go libraries.
Thank you so much. Anne-Marie Mackler, Development Director, Library Giving Day, Sedona Public Library. Find them online at sedonalibrary.org. You may not know what you're missing. It's countywide, and we'll talk to you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.